today we're going to talk about the love-hate relationship that people have with annuities.
Why does that happen? I mean, what is this love-hate relationship? But it really is there.
It is. And we were reflecting on an article by Coach Pete, who's a radio in the financial safari down in North Carolina.
Well, and his radio station has really picked up all across the nation too. So you know, a lot of people hear him.
So he gets questions occasionally, and one of the questions, you know, was this: what's the true story? You know, talking about the negativity of some of annuities, and really, it's looking at why are annuities so negatively portrayed in the media, and these attempts to discredit annuities sometimes by their rival products. And
right. And I think it's also important to recognize that there are these positive articles about annuities, and there's a lot of emphasis even from the federal government now on annuities could make a big difference in that, but yet we get a lot of negative press.
Sure, and if you think about it, annuities compete for the same slice of the pie as mutual funds, stocks, bonds, CDs.
Right.
I mean, all those pieces are options for people when they're trying to determine where to put the retirement dollars. So
do you think that some people just might try to color it? I mean, the wrong
I
way for personal gain?
I have never seen a mutual fund company advertise ever. Well, maybe. So you have to realize there are competing opinions, and everybody wants to think that theirs is the best. So yes, insurance companies compete against investment companies and the such, and so there are conflicting opinions and approaches.
Yes.
So you see sometimes people tend to go negative, and we're in the political campaign era. We don't see any negative campaigning going on, and I think that's part of one of the reasons that some people have such a negative opinion about annuities, and that creates that hate relationship.
And from our own perspective, when we're working with folks that are just kind of entering that realm of understanding annuities, many of their questions center around variable annuities because that's all that they've read about in the press. And they don't know the difference between the variable and the fixed and the immediate. Right. So they pick up this negative connotation that's continually put out there by the press.
Yeah. And his first point was, every annuity is a variable annuity. Well, that's not true.
Right.
But a lot of people confuse, especially the variable annuity and the fixed indexed annuity.
Correct.
Because they say, if
they have some similarities.
Exactly. If it's in the S&P, if you use the S&P as a benchmark, well, the S&P is an investment product, right? And so they think that it's invested in the S&P.
And yet a fixed annuity is just what it says. It's fixed, it's safe, your principal is guaranteed, which is the opposite of a VA.
Exactly. In a variable annuity, your principal can go up and down with the performance of the underlying sub-accounts or the investment accounts.
Where with a fixed indexed, you're not really invested into that index. You're just using it as a gauge of rising and falling.
Exactly, and that's where the confusion comes in, because it's not necessarily a fixed return that you're going to get with a indexed annuity, but it is the safety aspect of every fixed annuity out there. The worst you'll do is a zero on the return.
Your principal is always protected. The other thing, Eric, that we run into a lot with the VAs are the idea that, hey, aren't these annuities all high fees?
Right. And with a fixed annuity, everything's built in. I mean, it's what you put in is what goes in. There's no load fee. And that confuses the mutual fund aspect. Well, what's the load I have to pay? What's the upfront cost?
Right.
With fixed annuities, it's all factored into the performance of the product, or what you put in actually goes into your
and that's I do find that from folks that are just setting up an annuity, that they're kind of amazed that, okay, so I give you $100,000 or I give this company $100,000 and then they give me a bonus, so I start off with $105,000 or $110,000 in this annuity, and I don't owe you anything.
Yeah, and how much do I have to pay? How much do I have to pay for that now? That's all factored into the insurance companies already factor that into the
right. Yet it is a little different with the variable annuity, or a lot different, we should say. I'm just saying in the sense of the fee structure, where with the variable annuity, the fees are going to be right there on your statement. For the most part, you're going to see somewhere 3 to 5% maybe, depending on the riders.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
right.
you could get one of the bare bones
Right.
ones that have very
Right.
low fees, but most of them, if you're really looking at the income guarantees or the death benefit guarantees, you're going to have significantly
Yes.
higher fees.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we should, rather than just focus on the variables, we'll talk about some of the other misconceptions. And
Okay.
that's, all right, well, what about inflation? Can a fixed annuity combat inflation?
I think the answer to that is obviously yes.
And why is it obviously yes?
Well, there's different ways that you can either defer a fixed annuity with a very high roll-up rate, high growth rate for future income that you know you're going when you turn that income on. So that's going to be an offset against inflation. But yet there's also ways to actually have cost of living adjustments.
Yeah. And the other aspect that combats inflation is if you're looking at something that's going to be in the equities market, you have risk involved with the volatility of the market.
Right.
And that's one of the things you don't have to worry about inflation on the side of you haven't worried about taking a loss.
Yes. Well, and a lot of times there's just this automatic assumption that if your money's in the stock market, it's going up at 8% a year. If we look at the last 10 or 12 years, you've made virtually nothing.
Right.
And there's also the possibility that your money goes negative. Now, how well does that keep up with inflation?
Oops.
Not good.
No, not good at all.
Not good for sleeping
Right.
at night.
And we've talked about in previous videos strategies for addressing inflation with annuities, whether it be through
Right.
laddering or through
Yes.
So it can definitely, there are tools out there that can help you combat inflation with annuities.
Right, and I would, folks, recommend that you go back and look at some of the other videos that we've done on laddering annuities and various aspects of inflation.
Sure. Okay. All right, the third point he makes is with penalties and surrender charges that, annuities are just too expensive. And he points out that this is partially true. I mean, that there are surrenders, there are penalties.
Right.
And depending on the annuity you select, I mean, they can
Right.
have surrenders.
Right.
I can think of one off the top of my head has a 16-year surrender.
Yes.
So they are out there. There are surrenders, but why? And we've talked about this also in previous videos. Why are there surrenders built into it? Because these are not short-term products.
Right. Right.
If you're buying it for the wrong reason,
Well, these companies have to secure the client's money, and the money goes into long-term bonds and very high-quality investment vehicles and U.S. Treasuries. So the idea is to protect everyone. These surrender charges have to be there. And the key to setting up an annuity properly is making sure that it does meet the objective, that it meets the long-term objective.
Right.
Then you're not going to be in a situation where you're going to suffer a penalty or a surrender or this type of thing, if it's done properly.
Exactly, and I think that's the key. It's if you look at something that has a 10-year surrender, it's typically a long-term product.
Right.
It's been designed. Annuities are designed for income, lifetime
Right.
income. They are safe, secure vehicles that have longevity basically as part of the quotient of what they're built on.
And I think the idea of the 10 years or 12 years or 8 years, whatever the surrender aspect of the annuity is, it gives the client a sense of, well, if things change or I would change my mind, I have this escape. But most folks that set up an annuity really look at the benefits way beyond 8 years, way beyond 10 years or 12 years.
Right.
They want this to carry them through their entire retirement. So it truly is a long-term solution to a long-term problem.
Exactly. So that is really the solution that it should be solving. It's not a vehicle where you're going to trade in and out of different annuities
Right.
each and every other year. If that's your intent, you're looking in the wrong spot.
Right. So, go ahead.
Keep going.
No, I was going to say, so let's talk about what makes people love their annuities.
Well, they take out volatility of the market performance. So if you're concerned
Right.
about volatility, people typically do that. The income aspect,
Yes.
guaranteed income for life. Ooh, yeah.
Right. Right.
There's a novel
Right.
idea.
Right.
So those are the two big ones that jump into my mind right off the bat. So guarantees.
Safety. And I can say this, Eric, from experience with clients, that many times going into the thought of should I do an annuity, shouldn't I do an annuity, there's hesitation, there's this love-hate because of all of the negative press and propaganda from all directions.
What's coming in? Yeah.
Correct. And yet, what I find is that those folks that actually have an annuity, that have had it for several years, especially those that have come through the financial crisis, that they're very satisfied. There is an appreciation and a love for that decision that they've made, and very seldom is anyone not satisfied.
I would agree. So it's if you buy it for the right purpose.
Correct.
If it fits like a glove, because it satisfies what your need was, then you'll be happy. And that
Right.
truly is where people
Right.
who have purchased it got what they wanted from it,
Right.
and are happy. So if they educate themselves going in, understand what it's going to accomplish for them,
Yes.
then you will be pleased with the annuity. And most often, you'll love the fact that you've made that decision, because it's in some ways it's sleep medicine.
Yeah, it is. It's sleep assurance, sleep insurance
Yeah,
in many ways. And I know that we could end it right here, but let's hit it one on the other side of it. Let's talk about the hate. Why would you hate an annuity?
Well, you bought it for the wrong reason. You thought you were gonna, you buy it now. You think the rates are off. All of a sudden, rates go up higher. Oh, if I would have waited, I could have got a better rate.
Or you like maybe living on the edge a little bit,
You
you
like
like the up and
volatility.
down of the market and taking that calculated risk,
Yeah.
hoping for the best. Then, or you've got this discretionary money that you could put into the market. It wouldn't hurt anything, and you stuck it in an annuity, and now that annuity isn't performing at the high level of the market.
Right. Yeah. You have an annuity. You have the safety, the guarantees. You've eliminated the risk. All of a sudden, everybody else is talking about how the market is.
They're making all this
Oh,
money.
making so much. You missed out. Timing is everything. But you know what? The timing of an annuity is you've taken that guarantee, and you shouldn't have to worry about it.
Right.
And so,
Right.
So I guess I'm not being negative.
Well, thanks, folks, for tuning in today, and we hope this helps you in your overall decision to kind of balance all of this information out there, both positive and negative.
Well, we hope you don't hate us, but I don't know that you'll love us either. But so thanks for coming in.
Bye-bye.